Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. And today we are taking a look at the Chicago Blackhawks. We have an interesting report about Patrick Kane, and there seems to be obviously a little bit of a question about his future and, the fact he's in a contract year, is a superstar player for the Chicago Blackhawks. Is there the potential that his legacy in Chicago potentially comes to an end maybe before the end of this season? There's been a couple of teams linked to Patrick Kane, and two of them happen to reside in the same neighborhood, and I think that's a little bit interesting, and we're going to go over that today. So this is from Pierre LeBrun, and he comes out and says that the Rangers and Islanders are both decent possibilities to land superstar Patrick Kane. This probably doesn't come as too much of a shock to anybody. Now, the Patrick Kane situation around the Rangers has been pretty prominent. That has been going on for a long time. And, obviously an easy correlation there is the fact that his former line mate there in Chicago, Artemi Panarin, now resides in New York, in Manhattan, with the Rangers. And if you're looking at the Rangers, you're looking at that last piece that can get them to that. You could consider them already a potential Stanley Cup contender. Now you add a guy like Patrick Kane, they're a bona fide playoff team that can go on a serious playoff run. And again, there's some questions about what happened last year. Was it kind of lightning in a bottle with that third line? They didn't get enough scoring from the top guys. It's Benajad, Kreider, and even Artemi Panarin. So there is that belief that Patrick Kane could be in the fold there. And again, the Rangers have the prospects and the draft picks and everything else around there, especially on the blue line. Their depth is really solid and something that the Blackhawks could probably try to take advantage of in a Patrick Kane trade. Same thing for the Islanders. The Islanders maybe don't have the prospect pool that the Rangers do, but the Islanders have assets that could be of use to the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm looking along the guys like Kiefer Bellows, even a guy, I hate to say it, like Oliver Wahlstrom, Noah Dobson. I don't want to see the Islanders trade these guys, but let's be honest, if we're talking about a Patrick Kane trade, that is what it's going to cost. And especially if you look at the Rangers' price, you might have to give up comparable players, which would be a Wahlstrom or a Bellows or an Anthony Beauvillier and some package of first-round picks and something else. Bodie Wild, also another example. So there's a couple things that could happen here between these two teams. But you have to remember here, as we're talking about the trade rumors and stuff like that throughout this season, I want to preface that I truly think that there is a scenario where Patrick Kane, he's said this recently, again, he's been stating this for a while, is he's going to try to find every avenue he can to stay in Chicago, because I think the legacy thing means a lot to him. You look at where Patrick Kane sits on most of the Blackhawks, like top point producers, goal scorers in franchise history. Patrick Kane is right toward the top of that list in many categories. And, if he sticks this thing out for another 4, 5, 6 years in Chicago, he's definitely going to break those records. So when I look at the Blackhawks right now, I think that is something they have to consider here, is this is a guy that genuinely wants to return to Chicago, which leads me more to believe the fact that this seems to be more of the upper brass and management not wanting to get something done because they just don't see him as a part of the future of this team, as they are in the process of a rebuild. And there's a lot of speculation that's a big part of why they traded DeBrincat this past offseason, was to try and give, kind of make Patrick Kane waive his no movement clause. They kind of said they have no interest in making a trade of Taze or Kane unless they come to the management office and they say, listen, I want out. And until that happens, we probably aren't going to see a trade of those players, at least at the moment. But you have to think in the back of your head, if you're management there in Chicago, Kyle Davidson and the group there, you have to think that if there isn't a deal done in January, going into February, into the NHL trade deadline, you can't afford to lose Patrick Kane for nothing this offseason, when more likely than not, the Blackhawks will probably finish bottom 5 in the NHL standings with no shot at the playoffs, and probably having those hopes, pretty much exercised before Christmas and maybe even before Thanksgiving, depending on where the Blackhawks sit early this season. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Where do you guys think we could see Patrick Kane going? Obviously, the recent rumors around the Islanders and the Rangers, we've seen this a lot recently between Metropolitan Division teams trying to pry away guys from the West. Most recently, it was Vladimir Tarasenko, right? We remember the whole, kind of I would say a triangle, but it was really more of a square between the Blues, the Devils, the Rangers, and the Islanders. All had a lot of interest in St. Louis Blues superstar Vladimir Tarasenko. It ended up leading to the point where I think everybody priced themselves out. It kind of made the price of Tarasenko kind of unreachable, and that's kind of where things were at. So I wonder if one of these teams, whether it's the Islanders or the Rangers, is saying, listen, we're gonna try and raise the price on this guy so that way those guys can't get him. And that's kind of the scenario that you could be looking at here. But again, time will tell, and we'll kind of see how things go. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.